All right, what's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. If you can hear me loud and clear, please do indicate in the chat. Let me check the chat really quickly. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of Prestige. We do have a conversation today. Shout out to you all. Let me see. Hey, Isabel, good to see you. How are you, ma? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So, yes, we have a conversation to have today. We have about 4 or 5 different conversations. Okay. So let's talk about it. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up a couple of things here. I got a couple of videos that I want to react to. Like I told you the last time, we're not going to be reacting to national TV stuff, but I can still react to other content creators online, as long as it's within the fair use guidelines. Even the TV stuff I can too, but it's just that too much headache trying to dispute stuff. Whenever I dispute, we get it back because we're doing the right thing. But I would rather just avoid all of those types of headache. But yes, we're back here. We got a couple of things that we should definitely cover. Let me just go ahead and show you the thumbnails. I'll do a quick shout out to the thumbnails that we use today. I want to definitely, because we're using these people's picture, and sometimes it's not their story, but these are stories, pictures that we're familiar with. How are you? Blessed. How are you? I guess blessed. I am blessed and highly favored as well. Good to see you. Shout out to you. So do me a favor, if you're coming in, okay, this is how we let everyone know, okay, that we're here, that we're hanging out. Hit that like button, share it, subscribe. At the very minimum, hit that like button, okay? That basically sends the signals out to everyone to let them know that we're here hanging out. Nonetheless, we have a conversation to cover today. The channel is still picking up steam. Sometimes we'll go viral, sometimes it's slow down, whatever. Bottom line is that we're here to do this work, and we will do the work, okay? But you can absolutely help by hitting that like button whenever you come in, and just making sure that you grab the link to the video, send a email, a quick email, a text message to people, and let them know that we're over here hanging out. All right, so today we're talking about we're doing kind of sort of like a masterclass. I don't know how it's gonna go yet, but I don't know how the conversation will go, but I have an idea what I want us to cover. All right. Today we're talking about the questions to ask him on a first date. Okay. If you're a married person, you need to see this as well, because somebody is going to need your help at some point. Okay. There are 7 questions that I want to share with you today. 7 questions that I want to share with you today on what I think you should be asking people. So what happened was that I did a segment on one of our past shows, and on that segment, it was more so about the kind of questions that men should absolutely not have time to be asking people. Okay, somebody said, "Hey, if you're asking men to not worry about this question, how are they going to vet? Like, are you gonna vet? Who told you you're ever going to vet? Are you deceiving yourself? You're never going to vet. You're probably going to just fall in love and then find yourself in the mud, and then now have to rebuild the whole foundation altogether again." Somebody said, "Why can't we just get it right from the beginning?" I know. Me too, I have the same question. But that's not how it's set up. Unfortunately, you're not capable of what you're trying to do when you don't know, especially if you don't know anything about life, right? The questions you're asking, if someone gives you the answer, you're not even prepared for the answers. Okay, you're not prepared for the answers that you would get. You don't know what to do with the answers you're gonna get. So I think a man should basically be focused on his mission, his purpose in life, and just understand that he's going to attract what he's going to attract. Now, could you have certain questions? Yes, you can. What's your name? Get to know a person. open-ended questions that are designed to follow the conversation, not predestined questions that you kind of have an answer that you're looking for anyway. So it's like pointless, and you're wasting all this energy away from getting to know a person, right? So that's what we're talking about today for the ladies. So somebody was in the comments of that particular video, because somebody said, oh, just ask. Somebody was advising men to ask the woman how she feels about Kevin Samuels, and if she feels bad about Kevin Samuels, that's red flag. I'm like, what? That's a terrible question ever, and that's a terrible mindset to be in. Okay, now men are trying to shit test women. It's a bad idea altogether. Instead, you should be working on yourself so that your discernment capabilities are improved. Your radars are working sharply so that you can repel terrible situations. Yes, without having to ask all those lame, terrible questions. So for the ladies, somebody said in the comment that, hey, you should do one for us too, that we're here. And I said, yes, you're right. Okay. The gentlemen are coming here now, okay, because I'm noticing that the number of the percentage is improving for men. So shout out to you, gentlemen, if you're listening to this. But this one is for the ladies. This particular masterclass is for the ladies. What kind of questions should you be asking on the first date? Okay. Now, I'm not in the game, right? I'm not single. I'm not looking for a wife. So how would I know what you should be asking nowadays, right? That's a good question. Right? The truth is that nothing I give you here today is going to be the absolute of anything. It's just going to give you an idea, okay? An idea of where your mindset should be, okay? Now, more importantly, this is what I would advise anyone that is close to me, a family member, a sister, or younger sister. So don't take anything I take, as gospel truth. It's just something to give you some insight so that you too can come up with your own rules. But I'm going to give you some ideas of why the dating scene is just probably not working for you right now. Okay? The truth is that it's not working for a lot of people. So I might as well just offer some advice. Okay. Again, these are just advice. You don't have to take them on surface value. I want you to process it, see what works for you, because what works for everyone is true. It varies from people to people because of difference in personality, in temperament, in what you like, your preferences, the kind of men you attract, what do they like. It varies. It's just too many layers. So it will be absolutely disingenuous to say, hey, this one thing works for everyone. But the truth is that there's some core principles that work across the board for human beings, right? Okay, so there are some questions that some gurus probably already shared with you. I'm not going to share any one of those questions with you, okay? But these questions I'm about to give you, you can't skip them, okay? Those questions are probably good in certain mind spaces, environment, vibes. Those questions you probably need to ask. A lot of the questions that the gurus are sharing with you are questions that you probably need to ask if you already find yourself in crisis, if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, there's red flags everywhere. I need to know this. Those kind of questions, right, are probably questions you should be asking. I'm not going to share anyone. You know those questions already. Questions like, what do you bring to the table? What are your intentions? By the way, ladies, you're not the one that's supposed to be asking, what are your intentions? You should at least have an older brother, an elderly person, a pastor, a father that can help you ask those questions, because they are men and they can probably pick up some things that you're not able to pick up when you're in love. If you bring somebody over to come and meet somebody, right? To meet your friends, it's because you like this person, and there's a good chance you will give them a pass even when they are red flags. You're not You're not off when you do that. You're not abnormal. It's a normal behavior when you're in love with a person. You give them a lot of grace. You get, you know, they, you can see clearly there's a red flag, but you're kind of overlooking it because you're hoping it's not what you think it is, right? That's the normal behavior. You're not abnormal when you're like that. But this is why you need to have someone like a fatherly figure that you can say, hey, I want you to meet a person, and that person will do the vetting for you. It's not because you're not capable, it's because you're not capable. Am I clear? You're not supposed to be capable when you're in love. And I need you to be in love because attraction in every dimension, any ramification is necessary, because that's going to rear its ugly face at some point if you don't make sure you're attracted as well. It's, you know, it's both sides. You need all of it. You want to be happy. You want to feel like you feel good in the situation. But that by itself can be the very thing that will create a terrible result for you later on if you don't position yourself properly. So questions like, what are your intentions? I don't care how assertive you are. You're not supposed to be asking those questions by yourself. If you're a typical young lady, like most people that we know, you're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be resting in whatever you're enjoying about that relationship. But at some point, as an adult, you want to say, I want you to meet my father. Dad, I want you to meet somebody. Brotherly, I'm going to have my boyfriend call you. I met somebody that I like. I want them to meet you. That person should be in a position where they can ask some of those tough questions. So what questions do you ask? Right? It's not the questions that most of the gurus are sharing with you, I promise you. Okay? I want you to avoid a lot of those questions unless you feel the need to ask those questions. Why? Because you feel like you want to protect yourself. If you feel like you need to protect yourself, you should protect yourself. By the way, there's a good chance you're not in love with that person. Make sense? If you feel like you should protect yourself, it's okay, but it's because you're not in love with that person. You don't feel safe, you don't feel secure. You don't get to control that. You either feel it or you don't feel it. You don't feel safe. You're like, let me go and Google his name. Oh, there's nothing wrong with Googling his name, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it because it's the natural place that most people go to when they have questions, right? But if you are digging beyond the 10th search engine results page on Google, you don't feel safe. It's off. You're not going to find the answers you're looking for. Something about that situation is off with you and you don't like it, but you're trying to convince yourself otherwise, or you're just as confused as the Google search engine itself, right? So I'm not going to tell you not to go and Google search or do whatever research, but in reality, I should tell you right now, I'm a marketer. You only see what I want you to see online. Okay, especially if it has to do with potentially meeting a young lady later. Okay, in the next 30 days, I can completely orchestrate what you see about my name online. Okay, and granted, most people are not able to do that. So you might see, let's say he had gone to jail before. By the way, that kind of person should have let you know, like, hey, I was a bad boy. Oh yeah, by the way, I am a felony, but my life has changed. I'll share more testimony with you over time. You know, they should be open about that because that's a serious situation. Doesn't mean they're not a good person or they couldn't be a good fit, especially if they're open about that up front, right? But you don't go to a date and go and say, oh, by the way, what's your credit score? Are you a felony? Do you have anything I should know about? If you're asking this kind of question on the date, it's already bad. It's wrong. You don't feel good about it. Why are you wasting resources? Why are you wasting your own time? That speaks more about you. There's something about you that makes it okay to be wasting time for no reason with a person that you already don't feel safe with, right? You should be having a good time. You should be having a good meal, right? You should feel so safe. But Ola, there's some guys that are just bad. They know how to make you feel safe. That's a good skill set to have. The other things, is that what you want to find out? Again, you should have a elderly brotherly, older person, a father figure, your uncle, somebody, another man. Why does it have to be a man? Because you live in a social construct. What are we talking about? There are men and there are women. And if you're like a typical person, that is a real thing. We're not going to sit here and be in denial about that. Right? So you need that person to help you do the rest of the hard questions. What do you bring to the table? Tell me about yourself. What were you doing? Why are you 43 and not married? You really shouldn't be the one asking those questions. Either he had already told you by himself, volunteered, or somebody who has your back is asking those questions. Okay? And you should be taking care of all of those things before you move in together. By the way, I discourage all types of cohabitation, but you're not going to listen anyway if you feel safe enough to do it. You're probably going to do it. But you should also know that it's a bad idea to be trying to vet a person after you're already doing kerewa. You're not going to hear, you're not going to listen to anything, right? Because there's a reason why you feel safe. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying there's a sweet balance that you're looking for, all right? So I got 7 questions that I'm going to share with you that you definitely, do me a favor, hit that like button. Hit that like button. I'm about to get into the questions right now. Hit that like button, okay? These are the 7 questions that you must make sure that you ask. You don't have to ask all of them, okay? If you ask number one question properly, in the right spirit, in the right vibes, they will volunteer the rest of the information. If you know how to engage your seduction skills as a fine woman that you are, they will volunteer a lot of the information. Really, what you should be doing is having conversation. But if you notice there's a little awkward silence, still moment, you can pull out of any one of these 7 questions. Okay, I will explain each one of the questions to you and what they do, and the upside of asking these questions. These are not the questions that your gurus will typically share with you. These are the questions that you typically forget to ask because you're overthinking the process. You're trying to get married right now when actually you should be taking your time, because you should love in a way that people feel free, and other people should be loving you in a way that you'll feel free. If they're not doing that, it's already bad. It's already bad, okay? So somebody said vet before kerewa. Yeah, there's no vetting going after kerewa. You're lying to yourself. If you're already doing kerewa that you enjoy, and you're trying to vet, you're lying to yourself. It's the kerewa that'll be doing that for you. What if they lie though? Yes, the beautiful thing about lie is that there's no questions that I'm going to give you that's going to require the truth. Pay attention to what I just said. There's no questions that I'm going to give you right now that's going to require them to tell you the truth. Okay? If they are liars, you'll be able to tell. Okay? They can't lie with this kind of questions. Okay? They can only tell you a story. They can lie inside of their stories, but the kind of lie they can tell, you will detect them anyway, because this kind of questions will not allow them to build guards up. Okay? Shout out to let me see. Shout out to D'Souza. Good to see you, D'Souza. Good to see you. Shout out to Lady Navora. Good to see you, Lady Navora. Yes. So let's do this. Let's get through the questions, and then I'll explain the questions, and then we'll get to the rest of the other stories. Okay. All right. Number 1 question. So, what's up? How are you? How have you been since the last time you spoke? Maybe you spoke on the phone before they picked you up. Hopefully you're not meeting people in 25 days and trying to get engaged. Hopefully not, right? So you've kind of met, or maybe at least for FaceTime. You should have been meeting people you haven't done FaceTime with, at least. FaceTime or WhatsApp FaceTime or video call. You really should not be meeting people, surprise, surprise, if you're a typical person. Now, if you're taking the risk of going on a meeting on a blind site, what do you call it? Love is blind, whatever. That's a different story altogether. You are taking a risk, okay? But the typical questions, typical things you will say to a person you just met, where there's no expectations, okay? Where you're not attached to the outcome. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. So what's up? Things, that question, yeah, that part that you tend to skip, that you completely underrate. People will tell you so much when you ask this question the right way. They will tell you so much more. Why? Because this question doesn't put anyone on the defense. Okay, all the rest of the other questions, like this question, somebody just posted that earlier. This question right here, this the credit score. This people will only put their guards up when you ask this kind of questions. What do you bring to the table? You help people put their guards up. They're human beings. They're designed to protect themselves. If there's anything that's coming like this, they blink. They do that emotionally too, right? Because they're designed to protect themselves. So if you ask any kind of crazy ass questions like, what's your credit score? How's your finances? That kind of question, yes, they will lie to you, literally. Okay, now you put them in a position to lie to you, because these are questions that require explicit answers, right? Like definite answers. Any kind of questions that will require definite answers will help your potentials put their guards up. AKA, they will lie to you, even if they don't realize they're lying to you. They are human. That person is a human being. They don't necessarily realize they're lying. There are some that outrightly will lie to you. That's not majority of people you're going to meet. You're going to meet a lot of people. They're normal people that will protect themselves. If there's a need for it innately, they will protect themselves, aka potentially lie to you. They put their best foot forward. It's something that we all do. If we feel like we need to protect, we'll do that, especially if I don't really know you like that. So the first questions, like I said, is the typical questions that we tend to skip. Well, you're probably gonna, I don't want to be disingenuous. You're probably gonna ask this question, but I want you to pay attention to the answers you get when you ask this. How have you been? Nice to meet you. So what's up? Lightheaded, no big deal. You're not overthinking anything, but you're paying attention, right? Okay, so we tend to skip that question, or at least the part where you're paying attention to what they say. Don't skip it. These are the questions that will let them tell you the truth without realizing they're telling you the truth. Because why? Because they don't have any guards up. This question is not designed to get them. You're not out to get them on a date. Does that make sense? All right, good. The second question, ladies, you're not supposed to be vetting for yourself. Don't do it. Okay. The second questions that you tend to overlook, ladies, gentlemen, we don't ask this question. Okay. This is, if you're a man and you're asking this question, that's needy behavior, and that's terrible. How do I look? So you like my outfit? Listen, I know as a typical woman, you will want to put your best on to go on that date, right? There's nothing wrong. It's not needy behavior to most men. Okay. If you say, how do I look? And you turn around and you act like a lady in a very feminine way, again, he will start to feel like you feel safe in his environment, right? And that will bring the best out of any man, because he will feel like a man, right? He will feel like a masculine man. You have the power to provoke the masculine energy frame out of a man, to make, you're literally making him feel safe, because the typical man wants to be the protector, the provider, wants to feel like it's making you feel safe. You can also initiate that. You can help it, especially if you like him. These are the light-headed questions. You're not all the way in your cerebral that you can ask a man that will make him feel safe to tell you all the truth that you're looking for. What's your credit score? I know most people don't ask that question. It's crazy, but hey, I don't want to guess anymore, because it's crazy what you guys are doing these days. But the reason for this question is that to make him feel safe. It's to make him feel like, they were going somewhere. And then they will feel comfortable to tell you the truth. People don't tell you the truth. They get comfortable and tell you the truth. Does that make sense? People don't tell you the truth. Stop looking for the truth. And stop pretending like you tell the truth. You don't tell no truth. You're full of it. You don't tell nobody the truth. You put your best foot forward. That's what you do. Every single one of us. So really what you're looking to do is to be the God, to basically pull out your God-given seductress power. Make him feel comfortable until he tells you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So the point of this question is another light-headed question where you're not trying to act like your own father. You're not trying to vet for yourself, because let me tell you something, when you're trying to vet for yourself, you put yourself in harm's way. You make evil men start to feel like you're vulnerable, like they can take advantage of you. Don't vet for yourself. Let them understand you have brothers, you have uncles, you have fathers that will protect you if something crazy goes down. But if you want to go there and act all masculine, like I'm a shirt thief, well, you could never be a man at the end of the day. You can't. Okay? But when a man feels like you have a brother, you have uncles, you have fathers, you have men figure in your house, in your household that you were raised with, he will respect you. That respect that you're suddenly in the modern age you're asking for, ladies are asking for respect suddenly, when we know that most women just want to feel loved, secure, safe, right? But you're asking for it. I believe you, okay? But that respect you're looking for, I don't know if you want to call it sadly, unfortunately, or fortunately, only happens when a man knows that he's not going to be able to take advantage of you because you have male figures in your life. Don't vet for yourself, ladies. Don't do it. Don't do it. It just doesn't work. Why can't it work? I know, me too, I'm asking the same question. It can't work because there's a social construct, right? If you're from some corner in Africa or in the Middle East, a country that we don't know its name, I don't know if the culture is different, but for most societies, there's something called a man and a woman, and it's masculine and it's feminine, and basically the dynamics of these two polar opposites is what creates the polarity that we're looking for. Why are you asking and trying to change it? Oh, because it needs to be better. Well, that's not really what you're looking for. If you're in an oppressive situation, let's talk about that, because you shouldn't be, okay? A man is set up to want to protect and provide. That's the way he's wired. How do you make him feel safe? Make him feel like you need him for that. Oh, so men are just needy? I don't know. You can tell any story you want. All I'm telling you is the reality, right? So relax. How do I look? You like my outfit? That's your second question. You don't have to come up with this question if you're not done with the conversations coming from the first one yet. You don't have to be in a rush. You don't have to ask all of this question on the first date. After all, you're looking for a second and third date because you're feeling safe and secure, right? You don't have to ask all the questions on this date. Get to know them. If he's telling you more, he's telling you more. Oh, by the way, if you feel safe enough to tell your story and you start telling everything, that's okay too. Typically, a woman will start to feel safe, they really like, you're not supposed to remember all these questions. You're not supposed to memorize these questions and run on a date with this question. Again, they're designed to be lightheaded, soft, easy, sweet, because I don't want you to overthink it. I don't want you to be overthinking when you're going out on a date. You should be only overthinking about what you're going to wear so you can look your best and have a good time. If you already don't feel safe and you're thinking about all this question, it's just wrong. Oh, it's not something necessarily wrong with the person. It could be a self-healing. Maybe you've gone through some bad experiences and naturally you feel the need to protect yourself. Again, you're going to need to do some work. All right, let's go on to the third question. Shout out to Durrell. Please hit that like button. Thank you so much. Hit that like button if you're getting some value. We're only through question number 2. We're only through question number 2. I told you I wasn't sure how this was gonna go. Okay. Question number 3. So this is a question about him. You want to show that you have interest in him. Okay, we got to the third question. Okay, before you got to that, because as a typical woman, you just want to look good. Okay, you just want to look good, But it's not that simple. It's because you feel safe hanging out with this person, right? But you want to look good. You can't wait to show him that, your best, right? In fact, the only thing you're nervous about if you're a normal person is if you look good enough. You're not nervous if somebody is going to marry you and divorce you 10 years later and be evil to you and be mean and being a narcissist. That's not what you're worried about. If you're worried about those things, maybe you shouldn't go out on that date. So at this point in time, you're engaging a little bit of cerebral energy, right? You're saying, what is a day like in the life of his first name? Oh, by the way, you want to amp this up a little bit? You can say, so what is a day like in the life of Mr. his last name? Oh my God, if you do that, so random. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me clearly. If you can still hear me, let me know. We're back. By the way, I was connected to the wrong internet. Maybe that's why. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear so I can continue. We are, in fact, inside of a masterclass. We are in a masterclass. Can you hear me loud and clear? Yes. If you can hear me, I can see your comment, Miss Shukura. If you can hear me loud and clear, let me know, just to make sure that you can hear me, because I was disconnected for a second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear? Isabel says, Ola is the real deal. Let me know you can hear me. I don't see any comments yet, just to make sure before I continue. Okay, thank you so much, Blessed. Thank you, I appreciate that. Isabel says, Ola is the real deal. You're very realistic, traditional as modern as time brings. Yes, traditional is real values. None of us are traditional. We are modern people, but we carry a lot of traditional values, and we have to be aware of that. That's a good point. And we can't deceive ourselves with that. Oh, I just want to be all the way modern. No, you're not. Okay, you're not all the way modern. You carry traditional value, and they affect how you think. And how I know, ladies, is when it comes to your songs, you suddenly want to be traditional. Okay. I finally got my hobby of 15 years to listen with me, Baby Stack. That's good news. Shout out to you, Isabel, for paying attention. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for listening, because that's kind of testimonies I want to be hearing. Okay. All right. So let's get to this. So what is a day like in the life of Mr. Ajayi, Mr. Let me look for a name. What is a name like in the life of Mr. Daniels? That means you've taken the time to know his last name. Of course you should have, right? Because hopefully you've done a little small Google, right? But just don't overthink the Google thing again, right? But I understand that in this time that we're in, you're going to probably Google people's name, right? So what is a life like in the life of a day? What is a day like in the life of Mr. Daniels? Right? Mr. Williams, right? Mr. Ajayi, Mr. Ojo. What is it? When you say that, you put a little Mr. behind his name, you start to feel like a king. When you make your man feel like a king, ladies. But why must we stroke his ego? Me too, I don't know. Why must we stroke his ego? Why are we worried about why you must stroke his ego? Why am I not worried about the results you're looking to achieve? We should be worried about the results you're looking to achieve. Now, listen, I'm not asking you to bend all the way backwards until you break your neck. No, they are literally things, very, very simple stuff that you've seen your mother who figured it out to do. But to you, it's like, who has time for all that? Oh, good point. Let's not worry about the result you're looking to achieve then. But if you're looking to achieve better results, to bring the best out of a man, make him feel like a king. is your king. Your king, your own. You own his balls, all yours. Don't overthink it. Okay? In the society that we live in, you're not less than when you have a king, when you have a deori, when you have a crown, when you have covering. That's actually a beautiful. Why do you think people are creating talking points like is marriage an achievement? It's a way to make themselves feel better. The truth is that it is an achievement for most women that you ask today. That's where the question came from, exactly that, because they feel like it's an achievement. And if people have gone through stuff and they don't want to deal with the proper healing, they will create talking points to make themselves feel good. So what is the point I'm making here? By calling him a mister, just for that moment, it's like tin, 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 tin. I'm not saying you should ask him to be Boda for the rest of your life. You can call him names. You can call him his, what do you call it? You can call him his pet name, whatever. My wife calls me baby. Now my little baby is calling me baby now. Just like my first son did call me baby. You can, whatever you want to call him, right? Oh, let me give you, for those of you that are Niger people here, majority of you are Nigerians, right? If his name is Ola, you call him his full, whatever his full name is, that full first name. That's as modern as it gets, but it has the same effect of calling me Mr. something. So let's say his name is Leke, right? And you go, hey, what should I call him? His name is Adeleke Adeboye. Let's use Baba's firstborn's names. I don't know if that's his firstborn, his son's name, right? Adeleke Adeboye. And you go, so what is a day like in the life of Adeleke? You're already calling him Leke. His head just do ting, 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 like, oh my gosh, he called me my full name, right? So by the way, that means you should have done some homework and know what is, Adeleke is, right? Is it Bamidele or Oladele? So instead of saying Dele, you will say, so what is a day like in the life of Bamidele? His full name. It will turn him completely on. He can't wait to get you in bed. Of course, if that's against your values, you shouldn't do that. But that's a good thing that he wants to do that, right? So it could be his first full name. It could be his whatever, right? Because you've spoken enough and then, by the way, make sure it's not something you pull off of the internet, because that's going to come off as creepy. Okay? So let's go on to, before we go on to that, let me see. Shout out to Brother Patrick. Good to see you, Brother Patrick. Good to see you. Yes, I like Ola's pattern on many issues. Thank you. Oh, by the way, it's okay to disagree with me. That's how we rub minds together. Okay. Great dating question, Brother Patrick. Good to see you. Shout out to Anna Bello. I still believe marriage is an achievement. It is for me. Don't care what people say. Most people think it is. They just create talking points to make themselves feel better. But whatever, I don't address people that don't say they have a problem. If they have a problem, we'll address it when they admit to it. If they don't admit to it, I believe them. Okay. Shout out to Miss She Said. Good to see you. Shout out to you. So let's go on to the fourth question. We're only 4 questions in. Can you believe? Again, all of these questions never have to be asked. They don't have to be asked. Okay. Take your time. After all, you want second, third date. You want it to be a good situation. You're getting to know them. Obviously, you feel safe, right? Because at any point, you can stop feeling safe. And at that point in time, nothing good is going to come from that feeling. So you need to find out why before you move any further. But the point of this question is to make him feel safe, so you can pull the best out of him, but also make him tell you all the truth. Volunteer all the truth without you trying to pull it out of him. Because if you try to pull the truth out of him, he will tell you lies. Not intentionally, just by default. That's what we do when we don't feel safe. We put up a front, we pull guards up, and then we just create some filter, and you will just get filtered truth, aka lies, basically. All right, so let's go on to number 4. Fourth question. What's your most fun thing to do? Okay. What do you like to do for fun? I just changed the same sentence around. So however way you speak, don't go and be carbon copy these questions, because you will sound weird. Okay. However way you ask it in your own language, your own accent, in the way you structure your sentence, but the idea. What do you like to do for fun? That sounds like it flows better than what's your most fun thing to do. What do you do for fun? like whatever that is. Again, this conversation, they will tell you more than you need to answer this question because it's open-ended, and then you can use what they're saying to ask deeper questions. You go deeper as opposed to those 20 questions that those, I was about to call them, those gurus gave you. Those 20 questions that get you nowhere that you've been asking. Are you a narcissist? Okay, I'm just capping. Nobody asks those questions, right? Those questions that you're using to detect if somebody is narcissist doesn't get you anywhere. It's either it gives you the extreme, you think every one of them are narcissists, or you get the extreme where somebody pretends and they show you they're actually narcissists. You're not getting anywhere, right? It's part of your responsibility, ladies, to make the people around you feel safe. If it's a man you're looking for, to make him feel like a man. But why is that my responsibility? I don't know. I'm just talking about social skills and emotional skills, okay? People feel, that's the bottom line. There's no negotiating it. No one is ever going to change that. It's the reality, it's the actual reality that people feel. People operate out of their emotions. If they don't feel right, they will put up guards for you. They will put filters on. They will tell you what they think you need to hear. Everything will get discombobulated. Nothing good will happen from this, either in the short, mid-term, or long term. Okay? What do you like to do for fun? There's a, that's a good question. I mean, I just work so hard. You work so hard? You're just a workaholic? Does that mean I have to be looking for quality time all the time? Throw some banter and have some fun. Ask further questions. Go deeper. Don't be so in a rush to get to number 5 questions. As a matter of fact, you should have forgotten number 5 question at this point, because you're having such. Because you shouldn't be asking number 4th question if you're not having a good time on the first previous questions. And by the way, if I were you, I would try to only attempt 2 of them. All right, on the first date, because you're asking questions based off of what they're telling you. You're also telling stuff because you're having a good time, right? You're volunteering stuff. Okay, you're feeling so safe. You're already, if you're not feeling like that with this person, again, it's probably a red flag by itself. Why? Because we're talking about romantic relationships. We're not talking about business relationships. We're not talking about transactional relationships. Somebody say, oh, everything is transactional. I don't know what you're talking about. Even transactional relationship, a lot of time we buy from people we feel safe with. So what are you talking about? Right? A lot of time we go to that store where we feel good. We like that person that's always at the register. What are you talking about? Why are you so quick to go towards the pragmatic stuff when in reality we're not? Slow down, relax. Have fun. There's going to be more than enough serious stuff you're going to do in life. I promise you. Allah. You're going to do more than enough serious stuff. Why are you such in a rush to be so rigid? Don't you realize you're making everything around you feel unsafe? Yes, including the men. What do you like to do for fun? You're authentically looking for the answers, and you're looking to ask even further question about this number 4th question. So are you saying you're taking me out bowling next time? It's okay to say that. Oh, but they might feel like I'm needed. Like, listen, if you're a woman of a certain age, you should be actively engaged in your seduction skills. You don't have any excuse. Listen, I understand if a 21-year-old said, I'm not about to be toasting a man or making them feel like I need them. No. You shouldn't be doing that if you're 35. If you're 35, they should be clear that you like them. Whatever that means. Okay? You shouldn't be playing that hide and seek stuff. You're not a little girl. If you're 22, 21, you're probably not in this class. You probably will get away with a lot of stuff anyway. Okay? Oh, Brother Patrick says, you're covered. Brother Patrick can vet for you. Thank you, sir. That's for real. Okay, so if in case you feel like you don't have anybody, you have people. Okay, you just have to ask. Okay. All right, so let's go to number 5. This part is going to be hard for a lot of Nigerian women because you're not used to it. You look handsome. Where do you shop? What do you think will happen to a man? The most masculine, strong, stoic man, if you tell him this. Oh, by the way, it needs to be authentic. Okay, I'm guessing it's authentic. If it's not authentic, you wouldn't go on a date with him, right? But some of you don't care about the aesthetic stuff. But again, you need to shape these questions around your reality. Okay, nothing should be that rigid anyway, right? You look handsome. Where do you shop? That smells good. What is that? Oh, you can't do that. You don't want it to feel like you're the one who is chasing. If it's authentic, confidence is the most sexiest thing ever. It just showcases that you're confident. That's all it does. To the right person at least. And if he feels like, oh, this one is pushing, maybe you definitely, your discernment spirit wasn't proper, because you should have detected that this person doesn't like you like that. Listen, you will get away with everything if they like you. If they really like you, you will get away with a lot, especially if you're able to make his head go ting 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 right? Like, make him lose his masculine frame by the questions you ask. You look handsome. Where do you shop? What do you mean, where do I shop? I like that shirt. Where do you shop? Actually, I don't remember. I think it was a gift or something like. Oh, how many babes have you been receiving gifts from? Why are you so serious? Relax. Let me tell you something. One of the biggest issues in today's dating scene is everybody is too serious. Everybody is doing interviews. That's one of the biggest issues. No one is having a good time. Everybody just have their guards up. They want to know exactly where you were last night. You don't care about where he was last night. You really don't. In reality, you're just trying to protect yourself. So why are you pretending like you know where it was last night? You don't care. You should learn how to live in the moment, in this present time. Get to know him in this present time. This kind of questions, not only is it borderline kind of invasive, like, why do you want to know where I shop? No, that's all. If he's a guy that gets sense, even him will go to like, why, you want to be tracking me? Why do you want to know where I shop? Are you jealous? Do you think somebody bought me the shirt? He will know how to banter like that too, because again, the actual truth will come out in this moment, because they are smiling, they are laughing, they feel safe, right? Like, I don't care about your other girls. They're nobodies. You're mine. Oh wait, am I too forward? Again, if you're 21, maybe, but if you're 29, not necessarily. Confidence is sexy. It doesn't mean you can't ghost him if he misbehave in the next 2 hours. It doesn't mean that. The only thing it does is showcase some level of confidence. You're not attached to the outcome. You don't really need you don't need validation from him, right? But you kind of do. Oh, by the way, he does. That's why this makes him feel good, right? Doesn't mean he needs validation. It just makes him feel better about himself, more than the last moment, right? You look handsome. I'm not saying you should be telling people that you think they look ugly, that, or people that you already know they don't believe that they're handsome, at least slightly, okay? Some people, they outrightly tell you, I think I'm ugly. They're trying to be pragmatic and stoic and massive. They know I'm an ugly, short, fat dude. I'm just telling myself the truth. I'm not talking about that dude. By the way, I'm not talking about him, because I don't think you'll go out on a date with him anyway, okay? Okay? But if you're going out on a date, that means you think the person is at least a little bit above average per your own, assessment, right? You feel like, and you call them handsome, they will feel really good about that. If handsome is too much of a stretch for you, bend it to good. You look good. Where do you shop? You look good is not extra. You look good. I like that. I like those pants. Where do you shop? That's another question you can put in your little arsenal. You use it to seduce the man you want. Okay? Remember, you already want him. Okay? All right, good. Number 6. Like to travel, not like to traveling. Oyibo Ibon. Like to travel. Vacations. Right? Like traveling and vacations. Again, reshape the, again, fun stuff. Right? I like to be at home. I don't like traveling too much. I don't mind a little traveling. Most people's answer is in between somewhere. They're open-ended questions. They're not rigid questions. They're not like, what's your credit score? It's 650. Or no, it's 500, 510. Is extra 10 not good enough for you? Okay. Right? How much do you make? Don't ask people how much do you make. Don't do that. Okay. Yeah. What do you do for a living? It's a better question. But that question should have been answered before you go out on the first date with a person. You should have had conversations, a FaceTime and stuff. You shouldn't be finding out on the first date what a person does for a living. Like how much? Like why do you have that much time? Even as a woman, why do you have that much time going out on a date with complete strangers that you have no idea what they do for a living? No, you shouldn't be doing that. Okay, those are questions you should have answers to already. So that question of how do they do financially, those are questions that should be already behind you. You're just getting to know this person. Oh, but they didn't want to tell you. Oh, well, red flag. They didn't want to tell you. Or maybe they work for FBI. Good luck. Best of luck to you. Okay. So this question is like to travel, vacations. It's open-ended. You're not expecting, and there's no expectations of, even on your own part, you're not expecting any particular answer. You're having a conversation. There's a good chance that you won't need to get to these questions before they volunteered the information anyway. Because instead of them having a conversation with you, they'll tell you, maybe they were in France last week. Maybe they just came back from Canada. Maybe they just came back from Nigeria, dirty December, right? They'll tell you in between all of that, all the nuances are the truth. That's where the truth lies. The truth is not something you force out of people. Because again, if you try to do that, they will tell you the lies that you deserve. If you're a person that you're asking explicit questions, yes, no questions on a date, you deserve all the lies that you are asking for. It's a fair game, I promise you. Allah, it's a fair game. You deserve all the lies because you don't have social skills. You don't understand human beings emotionally, right? You don't understand. You don't have any emotional intelligence, which means you don't know how you operate from an emotional standpoint. That's the first step. It simply means you don't know how you operate, because there's a reason why you think yes, no question is going to protect you. Actually, yes, no questions will harm you and hurt you more than it to help you, because people are going to tell you lies. There's a reason why you're asking those questions, because you hurt yourself and you're looking to protect yourself, and you can't protect yourself. Ladies, you can't. I'm sorry. You can indirectly, right? But it comes from your ability to seduce the man you want, not from anything else. Okay? It comes from your ability to exude your feminine energy, where most of your strength, if you're a typical woman, not all women, if you're a typical woman, majority of your strength in your ability to, to flex your femininity muscles. All that masculine stuff, I'm assertive, that's just not where your strength is. I'm sorry, I know. Somebody's going to smack me at the back of my head. What are you talking about? That's some kind of patriotic talk. I know. But I feel obligated, okay, to tell you the reality. Not the truth, the reality. Okay? Because this could be somebody else's truth entirely. This could be maybe not somebody's truth, the minority. Right? Your strength is in your ability to seduce a man if you're a typical woman. Okay? All right. So, like to travel, vacations? Like, nah. What do you mean, nah? Have a full-blown... You shouldn't have time on a day to ask all 7 questions. You really shouldn't. Okay? So, let's see. Shout out to Only by Grace, by God Grace. He or she said, what about a guy who tells you I slept with this and that and they think it's cool? The question is that, what does that make you feel like? Okay, I have a follow-up question. What does that make you feel like? Because again, it's about you feeling safe and secure. If that makes you feel unsafe and insecure, that's going to keep haunting you. Okay? So he probably just needs to be ghosted. It doesn't mean he's doing anything necessarily wrong. But clearly, with respect to what you're trying to build with him, is wrong. So it's better. So a guy like that, I don't know why he's doing that. It could be because he's too young. I don't know your age. It might be normal for a 19, 20-year-old guy. It's not really in pursuit of you. He's having a good time. He might have expressed that he likes you, but he's a college kid. What do you want from him? Right? It's like, oh yeah, I smashed that chick yesterday. Like, it's lame, but it's supposed to be lame. He's 20. He doesn't know any better, right? Some young girls will actually be attracted to him more because that means he's getting girls, right? Not because of that particular thing, but because he's attracting. Like, people want what other people want, right? But if you're a woman of a certain age and somebody thinks they can step to you and be telling you how many people they slept with, I would be. But again, the real question is that, what does that make you feel? Does that make you feel safe or not safe? If it doesn't make you feel safe, you don't get to decide your next moves. Your next moves is not going to work out anyway. Okay, it's going to destroy the whole thing, because again, you need to be able to love people from a place where they feel free, feel safe. If you can't operate in that vulnerability state, it's not, even if you're right, it's not going to be good. All right, shout out to Gorex Corner, Atideo, welcome. So we got one more question before we go into the other stories that I want to cover today. By the way, shout out to the people that we used on the cover today. We used the beautiful Omotola and the beautiful Chizima. That's what we use today. I will do that from time to time just to, Omotola is probably one of the best actresses in Nigeria, in Nollywood, and Chidima is probably one of the best singers out of Afrobeats. So I think she's gospel now these days. But anyway, so let's see, number 7. Let's go to number 7. All right, so this question is not, it's a derivative of other things they've told you. So you enjoy whatever it is they've told you, right? That they do, even if they haven't told you they enjoy it, right? So you enjoy playing soccer. Oh, somebody says soccer. Sorry, football, right? So you enjoy playing football. So you enjoy playing video games. Whatever you really feels about that. Some ladies don't like the idea of a grown man playing video games. But by the way, newsflash, ladies that are grown adults, good men who play video games. Okay, all right, and that's just how they wind away time, reflect or de-stress or release stress. They do what they do, right? So whatever you feel, your own personal belief system, trust me, it's not going to tamper with it if you really like it. Like, so you play video games, you can even squeeze your face like that. Or so you enjoy playing video games. That's how you really feel. Again, all of this is designed to make him feel safe. What makes him feel safe? It's not you telling him what he wants to hear. Ladies, that you like to pander to men's talking points, you're going to be single for a long time if you don't stop it. Okay? I'm just being honest with you. Okay? Now, what makes him feel safe if you're being yourself? He feels like you feel safe to be your true self around him. That's what makes a typical man feel safe. I know. It's a reverse, right? Kofe makes sense. It's counterintuitive. I get it. I understand. Okay. What makes people feel safe is that when they feel like you feel safe around them, especially a man. When he feels like you feel safe and you're feeling like yourself, that thing that other people have called you masculine, if it's yourself, right? Just your own behavior, not you being rude to him, of course, right? But something that you just being yourself, yes, it might end up resenting that later on when he feels unsafe. But what I'm saying is that generally, if you were to cast like a general rule around this, people like it better when you're just being yourself around them, okay? They feel like it's authentic, they can relate, and they like the idea that they're able to kind of serve you. It's part of what we have when it comes to a sense of contribution. We have the 6 basic needs, right? Let me find it for you. Emotional. Remember, all of this is emotional, right? So this number 6 right here, the contribution, the way people feel like they contribute to you is when you're able to feel like yourself around them, feel at home. That's where things like feel at home, feel like yourself, be yourself. That's where those things go. They're not literal. It's just that people like the idea that they can give you that room to feel like yourself. Now, a man who's really, you're having a good time, you're dancing, you might feel like, no, I don't want to. Of course, there's extreme of this. I don't want you going out on a date when you got drunk and then they're dragging you on the floor in the name of Allah told you to be yourself. I never said that. I never said that. There's limitations to everything. Everything gets old. But what I'm saying is that if you're being yourself, right? Just being yourself and what you believe in, you're sharing that. Somebody say, oh, what if I truly believe that we should advocate for men? That's good for you. In fact, and plus, a round of applause for you. I appreciate that too. What I'm saying is that this is a romantic relationship you're trying to build, okay? And political talks, overly sensationalized religious talk, is probably going to make people feel some type of way. So you want to bring it down, tone it down, have a good time, right? With respect to be yourself. Be yourself with respect to, let's not be stupid, because he would judge your ass if you're just going to be a 304 on the dancing floor on the day he decides to take you out on a date. The reality is that yes, people will judge you, but they are less sensitive to judging you if they're having a good time, right? If they're having a good time, if you know how to seduce, right? If you know how to make him feel good about himself, if you told him that he looks handsome, he's going to judge you less. If you truly feel that way, and if he at least a little bit believes that you think that. There's a lot of in-betweens and nuances. I'm kind of so I understand it can be a little confusing, but ultimately what I'm trying to tell you is that everything you know is not necessarily going to be helpful for you. You probably know too much. If you are a woman of a certain age, you probably know too much already. And it's probably creating complications for you, and it's making things way too complex for you. All I'm asking you is to tone it down. So if we go back to that number 7, so you enjoy playing bowling. Does that mean you're taking me out bowling next time? You're suggesting next time. You, the same lady that told him he looks good, where does he shop, right? You're suggesting that, like you're seducing him, you're teasing him. Oh yeah, we enjoy being teased. No, don't tease me like, no, he's capping. It's big cap, okay? We don't mind being teased. We don't mind. Why don't we mind? Because the feeling good is just as good as actually being good. We're emotional beings. Never forget that. We're emotional beings. Never forget that. Okay? So those are the 7 questions. Let's do a quick recap. So what's up? How are you? How have you been? In the way you would normally say it. Don't overthink it. Okay? Say it in your language, in your own accent, in the way you structure your own sentence. It's the idea. Idea no matter. Number 2, how do I look? You like my outfit? Ladies, that means you should have done your best to come, right? Ask him that. You're not looking for a particular answer. What if you say, no, I don't like it. You don't look good at all, right? I don't know what that means. It depends on his facial expression. That would be terrible if he says that. But if he came out on a date with you, he's probably not going to say that, okay? He's probably not going to say that. But it's not about the answers. It's about making a person feel comfortable, that you feel safe around them. Okay? Make him feel like a king. Number 3. So what is a day like in the life of Adeleke? In the life of Michael? If he normally calls himself Mike, say Michael, right? In the life of Mr. his last name. Aponle ni mala. I get it, but it works. Okay? Edify him. Trust me, it works magic. Okay? Number 4, what do you like to do for fun? What do you do for fun? In the way you normally say it. If you are a typical complicated English speaker like Ola, say what's your most fun thing to do? He kind of already knows that. That's probably what he likes about you. That's probably why he's taking you out on the date, right? So it's not a big deal, okay? It's about the idea, right? It's the idea. You look handsome. Where do you shop? Edification. Now it's feel like, oh, where do I shop, right? Okay. Now he's trying to pull his masculine frame back. Okay. Like to travel, vacations. All right. 7th. So you enjoy. Listen, all those hardcore questions that the gurus have taught you, you will get the answers. They'll be voluntarily offered to you. He will volunteer those answers to you without asking them. If you stay in this zone, just have a good time. have a good time. Okay? If you already feel not so safe, you probably shouldn't be going out on a date. It's either you need some healing yourself, you need coaching, you need counseling. Maybe you've had some bad experiences, or your senses is picking up the right vibe. Maybe he's just the wrong guy. It could be any one of those things. If you have to ask any questions that's harder than this, and you're a typical person, not everyone. I'm not, this is not for everyone, I'm just being honest with you. It's not for everyone. But if you're a typical woman, this is the zone you need to stay in. But I have some hardcore vetting questions I need to ask. It's not your place. That's not your place. You're going to collect woto because he's going to start to feel, oh, like this one's not going to listen. But why should men feel that way? I don't know why men should feel that way. They just do. Okay? They do. And it's not something they decide to do. It's just a natural order of things, the way we are wired. We don't necessarily feel, typically, most people, they don't want to feel like, it's going to be a hard time getting you to be agreeable. It's just what it is, So, and if you don't want those kind of men, it's very simple. People are deciding to stay single. They don't have to be married. That's fine too. I'm just letting you know, if you want to meet these men that are out here right now, they are modern men, which means they are confused, but they carry a lot of traditional values. That's a lot of confusion, and you need your seduction skills need to be on point right now, and it's highly rewarding. You might be asking, why should I do that? I promise you, it's highly rewarding because they're just men. Okay, it's not that deep. Okay, but if you're not able to seduce the men in your society, in the society you live in, you're gonna have to look in the mirror and say, maybe I just don't have the skills. Especially if you look around you and people are getting married and people are getting hooked up. If you look around you, there's probably something that you should pay attention to. Not necessarily you're doing it wrongly, but you should pay attention to, because at the end of the day, it's a game. Ladies, yes, you need to have game. Musari Goni. Okay, Musari Goni. And there are extremes. No, I don't think you should get with lame men. I think you won't accept to go on a date with them anyway. I'm only talking about guys that you feel like you like. If you feel like you like the guy, you're probably going to be willing to help him anyway. So I want you to have the skills to help him so that he doesn't get stuck in this mindset where he's also operating from a modern man standpoint. What do I mean by modern man standpoint? Men that think it's about their ability to be pragmatic. No. If that's not involving game and social emotional skills, then it's not really pragmatic. It's, and they need it right now more than ever before. Men used to be naturally that, but it's not really natural anymore, because the truth is that many of them are soft, but many of them can be strong. It's not your responsibility to make them strong. You're right, but some of them may need a little help. Okay, maybe they heard some random stupid videos on YouTube and they're not thinking they should exercise that. But if they feel like you are a feminine woman, meaning you are engaged with your power of femininity, then the best, the way they were raised, if they were raised by properly, will come out of them. But again, if they see any kind of oh, I'm just going to be assertive, oh no, we're equal, we're playing partnership. While nothing is wrong with those things, they can provoke the wrong emotion out of a man, especially if he has been hanging out on the wrong platforms. He would just like, oh, this is a masculine woman, and then if you rub it on the head one day, he'll be like, oh yeah, I like her, and then the second day it's like, I'm not sure, and then you have a man who is confused. It's not really your responsibility. I'm just saying, if you're aware, it can help things a lot. Okay, I don't think it's sustainable for you to be helping a man. I don't think so. I think a man needs to be a man. But again, for your particular situations, you might want to engage professionals or a counsel, wise counsel, your pastor, somebody that that can help you see things from a different perspective. But the only reason, because you probably like them a little bit and you're not sure, you just talk to someone, and don't do the ultimate vetting for yourself, ladies. It just doesn't work. Because you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. Okay, it's okay. All right, this is not your job. This is not where you get to be a VP, a vice president. No. It's not. This is a place where you want to come and you want to relax and you want to be in your femininity and you want to feel safe. You want to be able to sleep and wake up in the morning and feel like you have a man who has your back at home while you go be masculine at work, right? You don't want this to be a confusing situation. I know right now there's confusion everywhere, but seek wise counsel. All right. All right. So I got a few more stories, maybe one or two or three to cover. I think we did that justice. If you have any questions, ask on in the comment, in the chat, anywhere. You can ask later. You can ask in the community session, or by the way, you can also ask in the group. If you're not part of the group, make sure you're part of the group on WhatsApp. Let me share that link with you really quickly. You go to lolaandola.com/WhatsApp. Just go there from your phone. It will dump you right into the group. Okay, so you can become part of the group. That's the link right there. All right. D Love says, I came in at the end. Hey, you will rewind now. It's okay. I will have to join the after show gang. Yes. But I got a few more stories to cover. Chinye too. Yep. You guys will you have to catch up later. This is very important masterclass we just went through. All right. All right. So let's go on to the next. I got a few stories that I want to bring up here that I think are very, very important before we round up. I'm going to be on time today. I promise. I'm going to be on time today. But let's move on to the next story.
That you do. I didn't even.
All right, so let's talk about this this story. How many of you are familiar with La Truth, the La Truth gang? Actually, I wasn't too familiar with them. I'm actually, from those videos, I'm able to pick up a little bit. But I think they were influencers, online influencers, married, this guy and the wife. This is Tasha K. Tasha K did an interview that I caught up with earlier. And I saw a few, I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw a few part of the clips and I was like, this is going to be a fantastic lesson to pull out for both men and women. All right. Good evening to you, Chinya. Good evening. Right. This is going to be a fantastic lesson, So I've got a few videos here. Let me pull them up to the screen. About 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me pull the third question. And then let's go through it. Let's dissect this together. And you will see a reflection image of what's going on with a lot of modern times relationship. Okay, myself, I'm a subject to this. Okay, I'm also a character in this what you're about to watch. Okay, it's a struggle. I can't lie to you. I have to be honest with you. Okay, this is something that we all struggle with. Okay, sometimes when we're looking at the results of this bad behavior on the extreme end of it, you're like, that could never be me. No, it could. In fact, that particular mindset is exactly what is going to be you. So the only thing I want you to be aware of is, I want you to be aware of these behaviors in all of us. Also be aware that it could be any one of us, okay? And when you're aware, half the battle is won. And that's why I pull this kind of stuff to the stage. All right, so let's go through the first video. It's about 4 short clips, and then I'll tell you what I want you to hear in it. Shout out to Tasha K for these videos. All right, so let's get into it.
You made a choice because everything that you do, you made a choice to do. You made a choice to do it. It was not her fault.
Hey, I'm not gonna sit here and say nobody put a gun to my head, made me get married. Then nobody put a gun to my head for me to take the back seat and push her forward.
Stop.
No.
See, you're doing that again.
This
That's very condescending.
No, this is out of me.
Let's see what we can find about this guy online, because I think it'd be important to have a family La Truth. Let me see if we can find some kind of basic information somewhere because I think it might be useful for us. If not, then I will just tell you a little bit about, just a little bit that I know, All right, so I think I found a nice link here. Let me pull it to the screen. Yeah, very, very important to know the backstory. We can't know it all, but just as much as we can, right? All right. So, Mrs. LaTruth divorce, is it true or just a rumor? Let's see what we know. The news that Mrs. LaTruth is getting a divorce has been making the rounds in town for several weeks. Is it real or merely a rumor? We know the real story, including what it means for Mrs. LaTruth and her family. Who is Mrs. LaTruth and her husband? The well-known socialite, Mrs. LaTruth has been, has been wed to her husband for a long time. She is renowned for leading an opulent lifestyle and enjoying social events. There have recently been rumors that Ms. LaTruth might be divorcing. Many people are curious about identity. Work was born in the United Kingdom. This is them. Okay, that's them. I guess that's a family, right? So they actually have children. Okay. The husband of Ms. LaTruth is a multi-business successful entrepreneur. Ms. LaTruth's marriage may have been having problems according to rumor. Okay, so there's some situation with her calling the cop on him, calling the police on him, right? And that's what we know. I don't think we need to know much more than that. So let's get back to the video, okay? Let's get back to the video.
Karen, I see a lot of women say, how can she make a man do when y'all don't understand when a man truly love a woman, man.
Just because you're not in
All right, so basically she called him out for being condescending. Okay, let me play that. What is condescending? That I'm going to point out what's condescending, especially for gentlemen here that may be listening. Okay. Hey, Ice Ice, good to see you, Ice Ice. Good to see you.
I'm not gonna sit here and say.
So you notice he said, "I'm not gonna sit here and say you think it's about to admit to something, but not really, right? That's the condescension part, right? Not really. He's about to try to twist the words around and make another point, make it as a comeback by acting like he's actually agreeing. That's condescending, right? But it's a natural behavior. But when you are aware of it, you slow down with this behavior. We all do it, okay?
Ain't nobody put a gun to my head, made me get married. Didn't nobody put a gun to my
Don't nobody put a, in my head, make me get married, right? Okay.
My head for me to take the back seat and push her forward.
Okay, that part, for me to take that back seat and push her forward, that's manipulation. Okay, he's trying to manipulate the narrative. He's trying to paint a picture by using a fake ass reverse psychology. Okay, it doesn't work. Especially women will catch you very quickly on that, because women feel like, even though you're trying to use that as a reverse logic of some sort, the feelings that's negative about that is what they will pick up, and that's what Tasha K picked up. Let's keep going.
No.
See, you're doing that again.
She caught that. And what makes this very complicated is that he's authentically now realizing that he got caught in whatever he was trying to do in that moment in time.
No, this is out of me caring. I see a lot of women say,
this is out of me caring. Listen, if you do care and the other person doesn't feel like you care, the truth is that they don't feel like you care. Gentlemen, listen, I'm not questioning that you care. What I'm saying is that if the other person doesn't feel like you care, what matters is the fact that they don't feel like you care. What actually matters in reality is that they don't feel like you care. Because how they feel is what's going to determine their next action, their next behavior, which becomes part of your problems. Okay? So let's keep going.
How can she make a man do when y'all don't understand when a man truly love a woman, man?
Just because you're not in
we
just
put
because
you first, man. No. Like all the tears and I mean, I can't speak for every other man. I can just speak for me. The tears and all of that. I don't even like to see my wife frowning. Like, I'm coming.
Now, lady, that's a fact, right? And I said that earlier, gentlemen. Even if you care, what matters is that if he doesn't feel like you care, that's all that matters. So you have to reassess how you're moving What is it that's making her not feel like you care? Right? You have to reassess that without beating yourself up, because you will end up beating yourself up if you're like, but I care, but I care, but I care. And if that's shown in your behavior, she will feel worse. And the reality is that how she feels is what she will reciprocate. She will multiply that, and So this is a lot of work for men. This is very hard thing for men to do. It's very, very hard, because he's stuck on the fact that he actually cares. Okay. Now, I could also make another argument that he actually doesn't care. He cares about how he feels. Okay? I can also make that argument. Oh, forget me. Your wife will make that argument that you don't care. Because how she feels, and you especially not being able to calm down and realize that she doesn't feel that, is an indication that maybe you actually don't care.
And then she's frowning because I'm about to go do some work. I see them frowns like, baby, you good? No, I'm okay, but you're mad. Like, I like this.
Now the woman would tell you, I'm good, but she's not good. What do? Well, you have to be a honorable person, okay? If you have work to go do, you go do that work. That's you understanding that you're trusting that everyone is not going to fall out of his place if you go do that work and you come back. Not only that, you're giving her space to process, you're giving her time to process, and there's an extremely good chance that she will feel better when she comes back, and she'll be more open to have a conversation with you. But what most men do is they try to have that conversation, or they try to force you to feel good in that moment. How do I know? Because I was that guy. Okay. Let's keep going.
See that smile, and it'll make me sit the fuck down. Like, man, I may do that later.
But that's
like,
a perfect world. But that's living in a perfect world, and that's not living in reality.
Mom,
not everybody's gonna smile all the time. Not everybody's always sad all the time.
Well,
but if she's more sad than none, and you knew that before you got cancer, then that should have been addressed.
All right. So one of the issues with this family is there was a sickness in the family. Sickness would take a toll on the relationship by default. Okay. So he had cancer. Okay. So in his head, he's probably also thinking like, since I went through this, you're supposed to understand better. Yeah. Sorry, not necessarily. Okay. Not necessarily. Okay. But let's keep going.
It's only
because it made it worse when you got sick.
No, it was addressed. I said, look, I need you to smile. Like,
even people just don't smile because you say smile.
What she does.
If you pay attention to Shake, women do this a lot. She's now starting to relate with the lady. By the way, according to Shake, she dragged the lady earlier for putting her business out on the streets. But women are loyal from a feeling standpoint, okay? They can connect with each other and empathize with each other. When you see people say, I'm an empath, that's what that means, okay? They can connect with the feelings. That's why they will believe every story that comes from each other without assessing it. That's normal behavior. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? So if you're having this conversation with a woman, right, and you're still trying to convince her that she can relate with the woman more naturally, right, and she gets it, but he's having a hard time getting it. He's having a very, very hard time, and I understand why he's having a hard time getting it. He's a man, okay?
Her smile though, when she's around her friends.
But is it a real smile?
She's smiling when she's around her friends, but I want her to smile by force when I'm around. Okay, good luck.
Or is it something that she's using to cope with what's going on at the moment? But a true
smiling every teeth, I get to see every tooth.
That's unrealistic. Come on now, like you asking somebody to pretend. That's not reality.
No, I'm telling you what I see. They don't ask her to smile. Ain't none of them. Smile for me. No. Like it's like
so it's unreal. It's true that it's unrealistic to asking a person that doesn't want to smile for you, especially if they're your wife, meaning the person you do career well with in bed. There's all kind of factors, right? Like the sea finish, like what are you talking about? Like resentment she might have, right? And if my wife is a little moody, and I said, and there's nothing going on, and if I say smile for me, she will smile for me. She'll give me a little quick fake smile. She said, I'm okay, baby. And she said, and I said, I'll feel good because there's nothing underlying going on, right? But if there's actual things going on and I'm trying to force her to smile and she's having a hard time smile, gentlemen, you're needed to be a little bit stronger. You need to understand there's a real reason. It's not just wake up one day, she doesn't want to smile because she's evil. No, there's a real reason, and it's probably going to take you time to find out what that is. So if you're not a patient person, you're going to run into problems all the time. Meaning, she might not be able to tell you why she can't smile right now. Okay? Keep that at the back of your mind.
Like I said, it's vice versa, man. Everybody not going to be happy. Like, it's so many marriages.
Okay, so did you hear what he just said? He said it's vice versa, man. Now it's in the competition. If you play competition with your lady, you can collect woto as well too, right? Yeah. Don't play competition with your woman. Don't do that. Like even in the slightest manner, even in the most remote, smallest manner. Things like, the same thing is true, vice versa. You say things like that, it's coming from a place, from a mindset. There's a good chance that how you do that is how you do everything else. You're playing competition. That means when you're supposed to be a bigger person, you're just like, why do I gotta be the bigger person all the time? Oh, my nigga, because you're the leader, maybe? No, I don't want to be no stupid leader. Okay, why are you in a marriage? There's hierarchy in marriage. Sorry, okay? There is, okay? And that means there's sometimes, particularly when there's crisis, there's work that you need on your part. You could be the woman or the man. If there's crisis and you're the one that can complain, that means you can also assess being the bigger person, at least temporarily, right? Especially if you're a man, because it could be a woman too. A woman needs to step it up sometimes. If you're able to complain, you can also ascend your role a little bit and say, hey, maybe this person can't see what I can't see, right? You can lead out of that funk. It's just not sustainable that you're doing it all the time. But it's absolutely sustainable when a man, because a man has more than enough to process and say, this is just my role as a leader, right?
No. And it's like I said, it's vice versa, man. Everybody not.
It's not vice versa.
Like, it's so many men.
This particular thing that Tasha K is trying to tell him that he's not able to comprehend, it's not vice versa. If it's vice versa, it's like no wonder why your marriage fell apart. Okay? And I get it. Sometimes you just feel like it's not fair. It's not fair. Okay, again, you're playing the fairness game. It's not a competition. It's not. Okay? And you're better off being alone. If you want to play the fair game, it's absolutely fair in the world. You get to live in the cave. You don't have a wife. You don't have to answer to your children. You chose to be a deadbeat, whatever you want to call it, the worst you can think of, right? But in terms of in your marriage, if what you're looking at is fairness, it's not like anything is wrong with the word fairness. It's about everything else that mindset drives. You're actually working against fairness. Okay? In the actual sense of it. By putting too much focus on that. As opposed to focus on something is happening. Where can I give? You're right. If you have to do that all the time, it's going to be tiring. You're absolutely right. But again, this is just a feeling, right? Maybe your spouse is feeling that way too. And if you're the man and your wife is feeling that way too, and you're feeling that way, when everything else fails, guess what has to happen is you have to be a leader. Why? Because you're the leader of the family. Or maybe not. All right.
Marriage is going on out here. Everybody not happy. It's if you're going to make the shit work or not. And I tried 6 years.
Yeah, that's unrealistic. So you preach that at your woman, you're going to make it work, or it's unrealistic. Should it be that way? You're right. Should. Fantasies. Is it often not that way? Yes. On both sides, a lot of times you're going to feel like everyone should want to make the marriage work. You have the ladies say sometimes, like, well, we need both people to want to make it work. In reality, somebody's always leading. It could be moment by moment. It could be overall. Someone is leading. If you in the kitchen, someone is leading. When we go out, we're in a social gathering, someone is leading. And so you're complementing each other. It's not the same thing as playing equal or competing with each other. You're complementing each other, meaning sometimes somebody is low on energy. You're ready to lift them up without playing competition with them. But granted, sometimes because you feel like it's not fair, you want to play competition. But I'm telling you that that's what perpetuates the problem. Especially if it's the man playing competition. It's just bad. the result is bad. So what do we do then? Decide if you want to be a leader or not. It's a decision. No, we should hold this woman accountable. I'm not against that too, but best of luck to ya. Okay. I'd rather hold myself accountable in the situation I find myself because it puts me in a better place of control, right? Where I'm never in control, remember, but at least I know I can control myself. Self-control is a better point of leverage for you. Try to control other human beings. Good luck.
Get it. And I'm alive. Like, I'm surprised I'm here.
Okay, well, listen.
I'm very surprised I'm here.
All right, so y'all can go on over and check out this interview because I feel that me and you just gonna have to agree to disagree. I respect what you do. I think you're an amazing artist. I think you really changed the game of creators. There's really not nobody out here that don't know you. You know what I'm saying? But like, it's really is.
All right, let me go on to the next one.
I didn't even ask him to.
You know why?
I didn't ask him to. He surprised me with that.
Do you know?
Do you know why? Because I am a human being. Creators.
It's in the background. That's it.
What? No.
No, listen. We are two.
So what she was doing, she was giving an example of her husband took her to Africa or something like that and remarried her after 17 years. She's trying to paint a picture of an example, you know. But let me tell you something, ladies. Comparing a man to another man generally doesn't work, especially if he hasn't hit rock bottom yet. Okay, it doesn't work. He will just be busy trying to prove himself, and that's what you see is going on. Even though she means well, never compare. For those of you in marriage, don't ever remotely, slightly, slowly, unintentionally, which I know you're not intentional about it, but be aware if he feels like you're comparing him to somebody else, he will get caught up in his emotions. Okay? He will engage his feminine energy more. That's not what you want, obviously. He'll be trying to prove himself. He will engage Shalaye. And you know, if you know anything about this platform, Shalaye is a bastard. Okay? You know they work either. So it's conflict everywhere, you know.
Me and her both are masculine as hell. She wants to be the
Oh, it's no wonder. You can't have two masculine energy in the same place. There's not going to be sexual polarity.
leader. She wants to be the king.
Do you know how physically exhausting it is to be with?
Now, he didn't talk about what would make a typical woman. I don't know her, but typical women are generally not masculine. Okay, then also depends on how you're measuring masculinity. Masculinity doesn't live in a vacuum. You have to measure against the other society around them. You can't just measure somebody that lives in America against a woman who lives in Brazil and say they're masculine. That's stupid. You have to measure it within context. Okay? So if you understand that, if she's masculine, what is making a typical woman becoming masculine, as long as you're assessing that within context? What is it that's making that happen? Because she doesn't feel safe, she doesn't feel secure, she feels the need to protect herself. You need to understand those things. And it's natural order of things. If she feels the need to protect herself, she will do exactly that. Is that your fault? No, it's not a matter of fault, right? Should you as a man in a marriage take responsibility and see if you can help align things properly so you can create sexual polarity? Maybe. Are you the leader? Maybe. Is it difficult? Yes. Anything I say on this platform is easier said than done. But you married her, which means there was some kind of polarity in the first place. You lost it. And then it's time to rebuild things or build a new structure or foundation. But that's too hard, is it? If it's too hard, confess. Because that doesn't make you not be a man. It actually makes you a man and say, hey, that's hard. I can learn a skill or two to learn how to do that because it's doable. If you don't do it, another man will do it. Another man may end up blowing her back out for you. Well, she's just ready to move on. Well, you're right, too. You get to be right. What happened? I haven't played my sound effects today.
You're right.
You get to be right all the time. But you also get to face your results in the mirror all by yourself.
Somebody that's in the limelight. Do you know? See, a lot of people, we like to diminish what people do that are behind the people that are in the limelight. My husband takes a lot of shit. He sees me go through a lot of shit. Emotionally, it could be, I'm so worried about me that sometimes I could probably forget about him, right? But because I take time for myself, I do therapy, I do meditation, I'm always reading self-help books.
So Tasha K is as a creator with over 1 million subscribers. There's a lot that eats up your energy, especially if you're supposed to be somebody's wife. Do you think she's not masculine sometimes? Do you think it's not gonna spread over into a marriage? Because she feels the need to protect herself from 1 million monitoring spirits. She knows exactly what she's talking about. She definitely needs therapy. It's not okay. Therapy sounds like a curse word. It just means support. Okay, because we are all human beings, right? So what is the support like? Support sometimes is in the form of your husband. Your husband also needs help because it's probably draining for him sometimes. But somehow they ended up in a place 70 years later. He said, I want to marry you again. Clearly, she knows what the hell she's talking about. But one of the things with people that have a lot of strong opinions around these topics, like I said, if they don't hit rock bottom, they can't listen. Also, anyway, let's watch this.
Do you see how both of us,
Finita,
for him, it may not be a problem, but for me, it will be a problem because of the energy. Do you see how both of us right now are drained energy?
So she's making a point that if you're couples, somebody needs to be forward and somebody needs to be behind the scenes. It helps you balance things up a little bit, right? Again, remember polarity. Polarity is always a thing. If you're the kind of person you're a socialite, you're probably better off with a person who's a little bit laid back. They're not really a social person. They don't mind stepping out with you, but you need to understand that maybe they're not like you. That's actually what's some of the things that create the glue between the two of you. What is it that you hear a lot of people talk about today? Compatibility. And what they mean is that we're equally. Like, no, that's not, you can't complement each other if you're equal. Either we're talking about in the form of hierarchy in the marriage or in terms of temperament or personality. You need differences. Okay, that's what creates the polarity, right? You don't want the person that's exactly like you. That's not what you want, right? That's what she's talking about. She made a good point there. So why is it that we do Lola and Ola a little bit slower and a little bit more aggressive here? Because I can be on the forefront, and then she comes once in a while, Shokilo Beoge, it creates the glue because I'll bring her up when I need her to relate with the ladies, and it doesn't seem I'm coming out of my ass like with my talking points like a lot of people in these spaces, right? This is real life stuff that we leave. There are times that we struggle to agree. Majority of the time we are agreeing. But you know what you tend to remember the most? Those small moments of disagreeability, right? The human brain remembers the negative more, so we have to be aware of that. So when we catch ourselves, we're both aware of that. Like, let's not worry about that. What else can we go eat? Let's go eat out something. Let's go do something fun, because we now know for a fact from experience that that's the devil using that small moment to try to destroy us, right?
Like, you a creator and I'm a creator, and I'm already drained 45 minutes on here talking to you.
And that's me and her.
That's a fact. Now, is she right or is he right? Right? Because he's making a point.
Well, you're right.
They are both right. But you know what's actually much more right? The feelings. She feels like she's drained from talking to you. So if somebody's having a conversation with you on live IG and they're already feeling drained, how much more the wife you're married to? Is your wife wrong? She shouldn't feel drained. She shouldn't feel drained, right?
You're right.
You're right. But your reality is that she feels drained. Do you think you should reassess something? Maybe. Yes? Just nod your head. Just do like this. Yeah. There's something you don't know. When you're confused, it's time to learn something new. It's not about being right or wrong. There's no paycheck on Friday. The only person getting paid here is probably Tasha K. And she's still engaged in the emotions, right?
So that's the reason why I said you would be the same way. This is her talking to me as well.
Okay, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I know why she feels the way that she feels. Because she is...
No, she made She says she made me, and I'm the one that had the 6 million followers. She tells
It doesn't matter. So women will, yes, through the sign language, shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. They will do that naturally when they don't feel safe. It's just a reality. No, but that should stop. No, no, no. The only person that can ask anyone to stop that is the person running the show on YouTube, Kevin Samuels. You as the husbands, you don't get to stop that. You attract sign language as much as you deserve it. Especially if she says, I made you, and you take that so seriously, and you don't know how to, like, you made me? Okay. No, so I should just shut up whenever she talks, but it's a lie. Okay, good luck arguing that out. If you really think it's a lie and it's the truth, why do you feel the need to argue that out by force right now? Why do you feel the need to prove that? If it's truly, do you think you need to help the truth? You don't have to help the truth. The truth is undefeated. You can go 20 years, be Yoruba, people said, right? Yoruba Lolo Godu, one day, Oto Maba. If the lie is going for 20 years, one day the truth will catch up. Why do you feel, if you have to help the truth, it's probably not the truth. It's probably you getting caught up in your feelings, maybe? So.
me that she made me. This is the conversation that we're having.
That just sounds like somebody just calling you a bitch. That's like a clap.
That's it.
That's like a your mama joke. You
That's
want her to know
it.
the truth. I think
Gentlemen, if she calls you out of your name, the issue is not what you're dealing with in that moment. You're probably already in too deep into that conversation. You need to grab your keys and leave. You've lost respect. You're not going to forcefully pull that respect out of her. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen, going to work. The only way, in fact, if you want right now in this moment, you can gain a little extra respect back. How do you do that? Grab your keys and act like you don't need validation in that moment. Walk away. Okay? And mean it. Okay? You have to be willing to walk away and mean it. It's literally your strongest position of negotiations. Yes, there's always negotiation. Why do I have to negotiate with my wife? Hey, you're a grown man. Welcome to reality. Sometimes you have to negotiate your respect. How do you get your respect back? Be willing to walk away and mean it. It doesn't have to be a permanent decision. It could just be for the moment. You know how to back off of a heated emotional situation where no one is being logical. Yes, you too. You're not being logical. Because how did you lose your respect? You sat down in there and you lost all your respect. Can we talk about that part? Oh no, we should hold her accountable. Yeah, that's not gonna
need them and do it yourself.
How, Sway?
I think it bothers you. It's like a ego thing, or you trying to prove yourself or validate yourself. Like she didn't make you. She.
If you know, that means you don't trust yourself. You don't trust that she didn't make you. That's why you're sitting there to argue that. And if you don't trust that she didn't make you, maybe she's right. Because how are you counting it? 6 million followers? That's how you're counting if she made you or not. What about the support system that you have at home that makes you go do what you do best? Maybe that's what she's alluding to. Just maybe, right? No, but I gotta prove to her that she didn't make me. Well, you shouldn't be in a marriage if that's how you think. Because that's not going to work. It's simply, but it's not fair. Welcome to the real world.
Like she didn't. You trying to prove yourself or validate yourself. Like she didn't make you. She didn't give you no career. So why does it bother?
He doesn't know that. He doesn't trust himself. He doesn't believe that himself, that he made himself. He doesn't believe that he's self-made. So he has the need to be right. He's engaged with his feminine energy. Oh, it's no wonder why she doesn't feel safe. Why she's acting all masculine. So it's your fault? Well, if you want to call it that, knock yourself out. I'm telling you, the result you're creating is your doing when it comes to romantic relationships. If you told me somebody laid hands on you, you would be right. No, that person should go to jail, at least for one night. But if we're talking about emotional matters, emotionalism, emotional blackmail, you're responsible for how you respond to that. I'm sorry. You are responsible for how you respond to that. You're responsible for your reactions. especially if you're a man.
You so much that she says that,
It doesn't. But
even though you know it's not true.
Why does she say it? That's what I'm saying. It don't bother me. I'm cool. I'm like, okay, you made me. All right. That's what I say when she say it. I be like, all right, you made me. That don't bother me. Bitch, pussies, all that. I'm like, yo, why are you talking to me like that?
All right, so let's push back against myself a little bit. Yes, it bothers all of us. The whole point of the need for self-control, the whole point of me always telling you, yes, it's easier said than done, is because it's going to be hard. Like, if anybody calls you a bitch, that's going to affect you. I don't care how masculine you are. You're going to lose your masculine frame for a second. So it affected you, obviously. And you not being able to admit to that is feminine behavior. Yes, men can be emotional. We're human beings. Okay? So that's all cap.
Stop
right
the
there.
cap.
You remind me of somebody that I just cut loose. You do. You're very self-absorbed, and you're not gonna have any healthy relationships going forward if you.
Listen, if you say you think I'm self-absorbed, tell me more. Tell me more. Does that make you soft if you do that in that moment in time? No, it takes a lot of strength to do that. Because you being self-absorbed, try to protect yourself, is actually a natural thing. That's the whole point of its work. Okay? That's the whole point of it's hard. But if you do it, it's highly rewarding if you can practice how to do this. It's great rewards to it. Right? You will lead the rest of the world if you're able to have some self-control like that. Right? Interesting. You think I'm self-absorbed? Tell me more. What do you mean? The person will feel safe to tell you a little bit more. And yes, it will get a little bit harder for a second before it gets easier. They'll tell you what they can see. That becomes ammunition for you to lead the situation. But let's see if he's able to do that.
You don't know how to. If you don't know how to balance that, if you don't know how to turn it on and turn it off, being a creator, there's a very good book that I read. It's called The War of Art. I read it all.
Did she mean The Heart of War? Did she mean The Heart of War? That's a good book. Actually, I've never read it. I've read the other books in the series, like The Heart of Seduction, The 48 Laws of Power. I definitely need to read The Heart of War. I have an idea what's in it. Is that what she means by Robert Greene? Or is there actually a book called The War of Hearts?
The time. And it helps you to balance creatorship, which means creating a schedule as a creator. Like, a lot of times we think we're creating around the clock, but we're not, because I get time.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the LaTruth family husband. He got thrown out. He got called the cops. They called the cops on him. His family they've dragged themselves through the mud. I don't know the full story. I'm sure some of you will tell me in the comments. But this is a few short clips that I saw, and it basically gave him away. And it's no wonder why he lost his family, at least temporarily. Anyone can get their family back. Really, all it takes is a changed behavior and consistency. That's really all it takes. And guess what? Those things are very difficult. Not especially if you feel like you're right.
Well, you're right.
You're always right, but I have a few more stories to cover. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back. So I saw this story, a post on Tunde Ednot's page earlier. Shout out to Tunde Ednot. And I thought we should definitely walk through this video together. I think it's a fantastic video, but also shed some light on the reality of the whole point of a marriage. I have a video coming out about that with Idris Abdulkarim on the reality of marriage. It's not to procreate, is not to do kerewa. Those are the icing on the cake. These are the real things that it means in real life for the people who do it right. Okay, So, and this story that you're about to listen to is not exactly all the way fortunate, but maybe long last, it was fortunate, but I'll let you assess it. Let me just play it.
Was a servant of God. When we married in America, it was just two of us. Of course, the American culture, we did everything together. But Pastor did it with joy. He did it whistling, washing toilets, mopping the ground, vacuuming, cooking and all.
So if any one of you, either in the chat or in the comment later, know who this lady is, please post her name. I don't know who she is, honestly. I don't know. And her name wasn't posted too. But she's talking about when they were in America, right? Let's see here. Let me make sure that we end this. Okay, good. She's talking about when they were in America and with her husband. Her husband has passed away now, and that's what she's narrating. You know, and
when I had Blessing, it was only two of us in the room. He held her more than me, and at night he would bring her cot to his side to make sure she was breathing and to take care of her so I could sleep. He continued till we came to Abuja. Pastor used to make breakfast for us, Caleb.
Now, quickly for you ladies, right? Her husband has passed away right now. My hope is that she remember to appreciate him like this before he passed away, or before he got sick at all. Okay, he got sick. Apparently, he had cancer and died. She will tell the story in a little bit here. So I had to pause that to shed light on that. Like, do you wait until your sea finish has faded before you appreciate your spouse, right? On both sides, either a man or a woman. There's a good chance that you do if you're normal like the rest of us. I'm shedding light on this so you can remember, okay? So you can be aware that it's a real thing that we all do, and you need to work better at making sure that you appreciate once in a while. That's what makes it sweet. Actually, the fact that you don't do it every day is what makes it sweet. But once in a while, just catch yourself and say, I just want to appreciate you. I want you to know I appreciate you. Sadly, people wait until they've lost the person. I'm not saying her particularly. I don't know what she did back then. But people wait until it's too late before they start to appreciate their husband. The only thing they remember, or their wife, the only thing they remember is the resentments. You know, it's the people that is in your life that you will offend. There will be more than enough offenses by default, as a thing, as just a reality, right? So that means you will have more than enough resentments to remember. But don't wait until that person has left your life before you start to appreciate them. The fact that they've left your life from a marriage standpoint doesn't mean they've left your life. If they're still alive right now and they're serving one way or the other, no matter how little it is, put more focus on appreciating the little they're doing, because it has a tendency of expanding to more. Okay? Yoruba people also say, because again, we are human beings. We're complex, but not really. All you have to do is appreciate people. They tend to want more of it. They tend to do more of it, right? And if you've done very badly in the past, that means you have to be extra patient because what happens is that they don't really believe you the first time you try to do it now. So you have to be consistent with it over time before they start to believe and say, oh, this person has changed. And usually people will try it once or twice and say, but I appreciated her. It didn't work. She's still evil. Yeah, part of the test is patience. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you what works across the board. Regardless of what race, culture, society you live in, humans are humans at the very core. All right? You rub their ego small, they want more of it. Okay? So what happens is that they do more of what it is you're rubbing their ego about. Right? It could be the least. The fact that it's actually small is what makes it magnified. Like that's nothing. Why are you thanking me for that? Instead of you flipping it like the modern people and say, why should I thank you for bare minimum? Let's continue.
On Saturdays, Helen, remember, Pastor will cook for us. He will cut oranges, he will do eggs, he will do this, he will do that. He will serve it on the table and come and knock on our doors to come and eat. And he will pack the plates to the kitchen. Pastor always ate and took his plate to the kitchen. Pastor fixed our bed. Pastor cleaned. till he died. I will never forget one scene. By now, cancer had. So who sent me? Now they send myself, now they cry alone. Pastor was so.
Somebody said, well, if my husband carried his own plate to the kitchen too and helped me with shows, I will appreciate it more. I'm going to offend you right now. There's a good chance you won't. There's a good chance you won't. Okay? There's a very good chance that it will become see finish. What you enjoy on a constant basis, naturally you tend to overlook it. Okay? If you did it once in a while, if it's a one-off situation, yes, you can appreciate it. Doesn't mean they shouldn't help you. What I'm saying is that if he's doing it consistently, are you paying attention to the things you're getting consistently and appreciating it? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that you don't need help, that you shouldn't help all the time. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there's a good chance that if it's happening consistently, you water it down. You call it bare minimum and you don't appreciate it. The same thing with men. Men do that too. Oh, she's doing what she's supposed to do. She's taking care of her mother. Do you pause once in a while and say, babe, thank you so much. I don't know what I would do without you. Because that's actually the reality. What would you do without her? Your life will be discombobulated. Right? No matter how little it is that she does. Oh, there's something that she should do. She doesn't do enough. She's a modern woman. Like the little she does, do you focus on it and make it expand? Or you're too lazy and you don't have patience, like you want it now. She must be like your friend's wife right now. Is that what you're doing? This is a lot of work, but it becomes better. It becomes easier. It becomes second nature with time, just because you're aware. Okay? All of us, we tend not to appreciate the boring regular stuff because it's happening every time, so we don't really pay attention to it. But if something happens, right? What do we want? That thing that we don't have. We want more of it. Listen, if you're like that, you're like the rest of us. Okay? What I'm telling you is that you're probably missing out on so much more you could be getting when you appreciate the little things. The little things, right? So, she's remembering the moment where the guy's about to pass away. She remembers everything when he used to take his plate to the kitchen and watch his plate and, act like a modern man. A lot of modern men think just because they do that, they deserve. Not necessarily. It doesn't mean she will suddenly be good. Okay? Then if I was to narrow down to 2 or 1 of what you need the most is, I will keep telling you, social and emotional intelligence. It's not about you washing plates. You can wash plates, she won't appreciate it. Probably because you're terrible at appreciating the little stuff she does too. But that's what she asked for. She wanted me to help in the house. I help in the house is still not enough. Well, there's a good chance that you're lame and you're not paying attention. You don't know how to listen actively. But again, we will need to know your particular story. But let's keep going.
Sick. By now he was losing his memory, his sight, his everything, and he vomited. And the vomit was so strong, some of it came out in his pant. He was not seen at all, but he was trying to wash the underwear. I caught him in that blind state, trying not to put me through packing it. I said, honey, please leave it. And I could scarcely take him out. And I came this morning to challenge us husbands and wives to serve one another. To serve one another. I will not remember 99% of the messages Pastor Ina preached, but I will never forget his kindness. I will never forget.
Pay attention to that. Again, because you're a natural person, if you have see-finish syndrome, it's okay. Okay? I just want you to be aware of it. Okay? That's all I'm trying to say. Okay? Remember what she just said. She will never forget his kindness. Why? Because kindness, the way she received that is feelings. People don't forget how they feel around you. Okay? It actually takes them, oftentimes, sadly, having to lose that person, not her in particular, I don't know her story, I'm just saying, most people, to reflect back and start to count your blessings now. I know it sounds like I'm preaching. I'm not. You see Bible in my hands. This is reality of life. Okay. Don't wait until it's too late. You will resent yourself. You have a hard time forgiving yourself, okay? Because all those things you can't see right now is actually being stored. The memory is there, but don't like sometimes just sit there and say, let me outline how this person serves me. That's how you're serving, because what she just said is you're serving. Make sure you're serving each other. I like to add more context to the idea of doing stuff for each other, love each other. The reality is that there's no such thing as simultaneous loving each other. It's usually because somebody is leading, somebody is seducing the other person. At some point, it becomes second nature. It feels like it's a synergy. It feels like there's a harmony. It's a feeling. Somebody was leading. Why can't it be you in this moment? It doesn't mean you have to keep doing it. It's just because you know that the reciprocation will happen. Okay? It will happen. Now, especially if you're a man. Women are incubators. Whatever you give to them, they will multiply and reciprocate. You're actually doing it for self. It's actually a selfish move, if you understand. If you are narcissistic or you're lame, you're stuck in what you want to get now. You can't see far. You lack vision and foresight. You can't see that far. So what is it that you do? You're trying to hold women accountable. Well, she's going to multiply that for you too. Welcome to reality.
His kindness. I'll never forget his servanthood. And I've told you over and over how every day pastor will come back. When he was going to work, he will stand and say, honey, is there anything you want for me to do for you today? Every day. And there were times he would have gone and I would have forgotten it. Maybe 5 minutes later, I will hear him coming, running back to the room. I say, honey, what did you forget? He said, oh, I forgot to ask if there's anything you want for me to do for you today. That's the man I married. So as I do this work, pastor is dead, and I'm serving God. But to me, I just feel a sense of loyalty to pastor, so that this work he started will not die. I want to challenge every man. Some of you, the last time you picked a plate was when you left your mother's house. Your wife has become your glorified house help. You are just a boss in your house. Unboss yourself. Unboss yourself. Unboss yourself. It's a big life. It's a big life when a man cleans. When a man changes diapers. For boys, of course, don't change your girls' diapers. When a man washes. Pastor, till today, I don't have a washing machine and a dryer in the house. From culture, just from we wash our panties, my panties and pastors. Any of us could wash it. It was not a big deal. Pastor was not a boss. And those of you, how many of you met Pastor Ina? Let me see your hand. Am I telling the truth about Pastor? Pastor will stop and greet people. Pastor was not a boss. That's my first story. Pastor was a servant of God.
All right. So the real question is that, are you? Hopefully she did. She seems like a great woman. Are you able to remember and give people their flowers when they're here? Are you able to give your wife her flowers when she's with you, when she's still with you? Even if she's an ex-wife, you're still getting value from her. Are you able to do the same thing with your husband? Right? You don't think you need your ex and ex-husband, right? You do. You do. Okay? If you have them on your side, on your team, they will make your life super easier. Is it easy? No, it's easier said than done, but it's doable. Okay? And it starts with being aware. Okay? Or you have another choice that most people make, be caught up in your feelings and say, that person, lie, never, that's okay too. You have your reasons, and I respect your reasons, but I was just hoping that maybe having a little insight to what you have going on can help. All right, so that's that with that story. So, a quick story time. A quick story time. This is something that it took me a while to understand, and I wanted to share with you in a few minutes. Um, there's this big tussle for a typical couple. Some couples are different. That happened between Kiriwa and finances. If you don't know what Kiriwa is, let me know in the chat. I'll answer you. For now, let's just keep it that way. Let's keep it clean. All right. So I was listening to Auntie B's platform, our last live show. I couldn't join because I was busy in the background, but this gentleman that came up and told his story, and he was actually very open. I appreciated his story. He told his story on how his wife that there was incompatibility, Kiriwa compatibility. There was Kiriwa incompatibility between them, and then he wanted more, and she tended to, she didn't think he was important. Sounded like she was that type of woman that would say, "Now food," right? A lot of women will say, "Is it food?" So he was telling his story, and then he got to a point where he also talked about how he didn't have a job. He wasn't doing well financially. He didn't have a job. I guess he's a did he say he was a graduate? I don't remember. Bottom line is that he wasn't doing as good as he could from a place of finances. He was struggling financially. Okay. And then he also mentioned that he said it very, very quickly, but I was like, oh God, you have to tell that story. He said something to the effect that he ended up not being faithful because a man has needs. A man has the need of Kiriwa, right? And he wasn't getting it as much as he could, so he ended up stepping out on his wife, and and then he was almost coming off as to the ladies, because I was looking at the chat at one point. Ladies were like, so you are demanding. I was like, well, it can come off that way, that he was demanding, but the truth is that this thing is food for most men. Okay, so there's this tussle that I wanted to highlight as a very short segment here between Kiriwa and finances, and between men and women. And I think awareness, as usual, will give you some leverage edge, so you can win this game of life against everybody else. Most people are not here. Most people are not men of prestige, so they're not going to get this. Okay, they're not going to get what I'm sharing with you right now. Okay, but that's okay, because that's how you get to win, because it's an active marketplace after all. Somebody's husband is going to be snatched tonight. Somebody's wife will be snatched tonight, and that person will end up being right, but effectively they would have lost their partner. Okay, but you reduce the chances of that ever happening if you understand these things. Okay, either you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. Chinye, okay, so you were on the show. The part that got me curious is when he said she was suspecting that, yes, we couldn't really get to the bottom of that, but what I picked from that is that women will shame you with anything that they find easy to shame you if they're done. If you're done, they're done. They shame you with the size of your bola, the size of your bank account, including anyone that get caught up in their feminine energy, their mouth is like a lethal weapon. They could use anything, because at first too I was like, wait, okay, go back to that part, right? But eventually it seems like it's authentic. So this is the part that I wanted to share with you. Okay, a typical man, when they are stressed out, you know how they relieve stress? Let me share with you. You know how they relieve stress, especially if it's finances, right? Which means maybe he lost his job, he doesn't have a job to go to right now. That means he has more time in his hands than he needs to be. Okay, you know how he relieves the stress? A lot of men, most Men, dare I say, is Kerewa. Okay, here's a mismatch. Okay, the last thing that a typical woman wants when she's stressed out, especially if the cause of the stress is finances, the last thing she wants or she's thinking about or that she's able to engage in properly is Kerewa. Do you see the mismatch? Okay. Awareness is key. Awareness is key. Let us tell this thing something. Right? So I'm going to repeat that. It's what I say, yeah, there's more to that story as usual, but it seems like he gave us, it wasn't, it gave us more than enough, Auntie B was trying to extract that info, but yeah, it wasn't much to it. But I think it was as authentic as we needed him to be. Let me block our machine, brother. Mr. Machine. All right. So, could there be more to the story? Yes, there's always more to the story, of course. You guys know that. But in terms of that part, I think it's very possible that it's just a shaming language from the wife, right? And but there's a part that made me think there was more to it. That part where he was saying, some things we are comfortable with, they're more comfortable in the abroad society, in the Western world to talk about. I'm like, you want to tell us more about that? But later I said, make I just give him a pass. Let's focus on the lesson that was in that, which is this. Okay, I'm going to repeat it. Okay, for a typical woman, okay, or at least the polar opposite of a couple, right? One person uses Kerewa to relieve stress in crisis. When there's crisis going on, the crisis could be finances. Okay, usually in some form of crisis, one person relieves their crisis or relieves the stress of that crisis with Kerewa. The other person, the last thing they're thinking about is Kerewa. When you're aware of that, if you're the person that likes to relieve your stress with Kerewa, you're aware, you know that this person is probably stressed out. The last thing they want is that. Respect yourself, jejely. Okay, respect yourself. Okay, engage your seduction skills. Don't just go there and be ready to do, because it won't happen. If anything, they will basically be angry with you, and you won't like yourself because rejection feels terrible. Okay, if you are the person that you know that the last thing you want to do is Kerewa when you are stressed out, you're in your brain. This is marriage. You need to be aware. They will go and collect Kerewa from somewhere else. So they will call it a mistake. They will fall on somebody's bola by mistake. They will fall into somebody's hot pocket by mistake. That's the reality. Oh, Ola, you are encouraging bad behavior. I know. Mo sorry. Okay. I'm very sorry.
You're right.
Okay. I'm just letting you know that people, let me prove to you that I'm not encouraging bad behavior. It's actually bad behavior. There you have it. But people, when it feels right, they will do all the wrong things. That's people. Okay? That's just people. When it feels, have you ever heard that saying or that song that say, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right? That's the reality. When it comes to romantic relationships, that's the reality. Okay? They just don't say it out. They only sing it in songs. They don't say it out. They would have fell on a bola somewhere before they realize, but that would never be me. I know that person that it happened to also thought the same thing. Okay? If it will never be you, there's a good chance it might be your partner. What am I trying to say here? Should we just encourage bad behavior? No, what I'm trying to say is I want you to understand that you have power. You actually bring something to this person. You actually have value in this person's life. So it's my value just Kerewa. No, that's not what I'm saying. There's a connection that people feel when they're able to feel free that they do Kerewa from time to time. He said something. They asked him one of the trick questions that I think maybe she didn't mean it as trick, but that I felt like it was a trick question that was being thrown at him was, like how many times do you think is normal? Because I think she was trying to, and the guy said there was a show, I think he was referencing Daddy Freeze. There was a show that somebody did My wife was like, oh, he's talking about Daddy Freeze because we were watching a show where people were talking about how many times it should be. Some people said it should be 25 times a month. I do think that's unrealistic for most people. Okay. And then the guy answered a very decent answer, in my opinion. He said 2 to 3 times a week is ideal. Well, not when finances are not, especially if you don't know that, if you don't already know, you're not aware that the last thing that your wife will probably want to do is kerewa, the blue balls will be real. Okay, if you're not aware, you just end up saying, she weaponized kerewa. Okay, people don't weaponize things they don't want to do. If she wants to do it, she wouldn't be weaponizing it. The bottom line is that she don't want to do, right? So I thought his answer was decent, 2 to 3 times, but also when you're in that kind of crisis, it's going to be difficult on both sides, by the way. Okay, the last thing that a person that is not giving you care want to do is to be in that position too. But emotions are emotions, right? How you feel is how you feel, and people will do all the wrong things, including weaponizing kerewa when it feels right. You see, the same thing works on the opposite end of it too. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. It's the same principle. It's just that what feels good to this person may be different from what feels good to this person, especially as a form of response to crisis. But when you are aware, it's half the back to 1. Okay? So there you have it. Yes. I think everyone in the room on the chat, they seem like they appreciated his openness after the fact. He definitely wasn't trying to come from, but again, most people are not trying to do that either. They just lack what they lack in terms of not being able to, like, we will catch you if you lie to us. Somebody will catch you, But yes, I think we may have one more story to cover, and we'll do that really quickly, right? All right, so I used to do a segment here a long time ago, maybe earlier on. It's called a comment reaction. So we're gonna do that today. Let me go to. Let me see. I think I'm sharing the wrong screen here. Thank God it's nothing sensitive. Let me share the right screen with you. Stop screen, share screen. Let's go to the right screen right now, real quickly. Okay, boom. All right, so it's called comment reaction. Again, I also want to shout out people, the replay gang, when they do comment. But sometimes we have viral videos that will just go haywire, and one of them is this video. We did a video session here with Trevor Noah. If you remember, we talked about Trevor Noah and and his appreciation, his weird ass appreciation for black people, and a lot of black women, even black men, didn't really appreciate it, And I thought, let's go to some of the comments. The video blew up. The video is now the #1 video in the last 28 days here. The video just beat Auntie B's the reaction I did to the Mongo Park who came into my back channel. So we have some comments here that I thought was interesting. We'll use the next few minutes to round up the show and look at the comment. This actually, this video says 10 hours ago from Eros Nectar. Shout out to Eros Nectar. This person, so again, a quick backstory, right? So he said he appreciates black people, and a bunch of people are saying, hey, you appreciate black people, how about marrying one or dating one? So then, so some people have some comments to say. Some people are even saying that, oh, wait, he's dated some people back when he was in Africa, So I thought we should review this together. So Arrow says it must be about dating because his resources are going to a non-black woman. Okay, so from a sense of community, I can appreciate these people's, I can understand that if you want to build your community, you just have to do what you got to do. But I think a lot of people are forgetting that he's half white. But anyway, also this is someone's personal life, so it's kind of hard. You all are not thinking deep enough. Stop it. And yes, I appreciate the compliment, but who he dates matters. So sounds like this is a woman, a black woman, who is saying this. Okay. Now, if you remember at the very beginning of this session about the question you should ask him on a date, thinking too deep and romantic relationships, they don't really go together. That's the whole point of romance. You need a balance, a sweet balance, right? But I'll be very careful about this, about the wrong expectations, unrealistic expectations, that when people are when they're in the romantic mode, they're thinking about your community stuff. Probably not, okay? But they should. You're right. They should, but that's just not the reality, right? And Lisa, shout out to Lisa Williams Holloway, says, yes, get it, because as a professional black woman in America, I can't afford to blank around and find out. So she appreciates. Most people, she's not focused on what he's dating. That's how most people operate in society. And you have to be aware of that, so that if you are the leader who thinks deep, at least you know what you're leading, right? It's just awareness is key, okay? Rachel says, I'm tired of people keeping black women's name in their mouth. Even if I'm a black African man, Abby. Continue. Anyway, unprovoked is actually becoming an obsession. Speak about your preferences and go. Well, I thought that's what the conversation was about. Oh my God. Anyway, shout out to shout out to Rachel. I can't see. Where's the reply? Somebody replied, I guess. Okay. Summer Love 0763 says, I get it, Trevor. Okay. Spikes 1900 says, marry someone who he connects with is fine and should transcend race. Well, that's the reality. It's going to transcend race. Those that want to stay in the race, like most people, focus on those if that's what you want. Don't shame people that want what they want. It's just not productive. Okay? Because you shame them doesn't mean they're just going to suddenly change. You're wasting your energy, your time, your resources, and they're still going to do what they want to do. Just saying. No point marrying someone because of race. Anyone is free to choose. His choice will not ever take away his black experience, and anything else is just utter ignorance. He did date 2 black women in his early days in the entertainment industry in South Africa. All right. So Abigail Nomsa Ndembele, shout out to you. He was not even famous then. One lady is an actress and the other is a daughter of a politician, but he hasn't been with one in a while. I wonder why. It could be because of the people in the circle. People date the people in their circle. Okay. All right. So somebody responded to that. Said, Sakuraku says, no longer need come up woman. Oh, he doesn't need come up woman. It's same story. Using black women as come up, then drop them. Ha, Jesus. As come up, then drop them once he reach higher place and get with his real preference. I may do some music segment. I'm not really inspired to do it, but if you guys want me to do some music session where I play this keyboard behind me and do like an hour special, maybe once a month or something like that, let me know. I'll consider it. All right, so he loves black women, but don't date black women. That's interesting. All right, let's see some response here. Like you said, black women cannot afford to find out. The truth of the matter is that black women has the integrity and wisdom to understand the undertone intention and walk away from the foolishness. Oh, that sounds like a woman saying that. Black women are strong and intelligent to call a spade, but sometimes it costs us the losing the bola. It costs us the patience to ripe, but we have work for to enjoy the benefit. Noah is with a woman that he believed worked for him emotionally and the equal balance of emotional integrity. And the woman can be either black or white. It doesn't have to be only black woman. Okay. It's only biased mind that will expectations, and demand what you are attracted to or who should like to be with. Jesus Christ. Anyway, thank you so much for that, Siddiq. And Siddiq goes on, and I agree with your guest 100%. This is why the way a Nigerian woman reason is different from African American. I have been living in America for the past 27 years, and I understand that the guest said about Noah maybe avoiding being a baby's father. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was vicious. I don't agree with that. I don't think it's that deep for him. I think it's just like what he likes. And the likelihood is high if he dated African American women. Yeah, I wouldn't say that too. We don't. Yeah, I don't like saying that. It's terrible. I know way too many African American women that are not baby mothers. So that still goes back to the circle you keep. I don't care what the number says. In all 13% Black American, I don't care. Okay, your circle is all you can affect, and that's all you should be focused on. Wow, do you really believe what you're saying? African American will make him a baby daddy. Yeah, that's just terrible. Huh? But other race won't. Yeah, you're not making any sense. As long as he is Trevor Noah, any woman will make him a baby daddy. That's a fact. Okay, some of these lucky girls will make him a baby mama instantly. I'm gonna capture a straightening. Anyway, this is a viral video. Go check it out. I don't know why it's viral. You know, the video has 1,600 views right now. I don't know, in 2 days. I don't know. Maybe you can find out for me. But it's a viral video. It's out there. If you want to go check it out, go check it out. But anyway, hopefully we've also done another classic here today. I don't know. We may be back on the weekend for a pop-up, a pull-up, but we definitely will be back on Tuesday. All right. Tuesday, I think we might be doing 5:30 p.m. standard time. Okay, 5 or 5:30. So it depends. Maybe 5:30 or 5:15, one of the two. You know, just keep that at the back of your mind. I'll let you guys know because I am starting a project. But you know, let's get to work. Go ahead and do me a favor, okay? As usual, hit that like button on your way out, okay? Share this series with people. If you're finding value in this, please do me a favor, share it, let people know, okay? More and more people are coming back. It's all organic, so we're doing something right, okay? As you can see, we have a video over there doing 1,600. Between now and Tuesday, when you come back here and you hang out with me live, I have tons of videos I'll be dropping. Make sure you're engaging those videos. A lot of shorts. Make sure you're engaging them. The reason why I push them out because I think there's something I need you to listen to in it. Okay, there's usually something in there. So make sure you're engaging those videos. Okay, and also when you come here to hang out with me live, please expect that there will be a 5 minutes countdown. It takes a second. Like for example, a few of our regulars, my sisters Chinye and who else was that, they didn't get the notification for whatever reason. They came an hour late, you know. So how much more? 5 minutes, just 5 minutes countdown. If you're watching this as a replay later, just fast it forward. Don't be asking me to do extra work. If you ask me that question again, why is it countdown long, I will report you to all of Prestige family, and the result is no good. Okay, all right. But nonetheless, I appreciate every single one of you. So we will keep the countdown live for the live shows. We'll keep coming back here for live shows. I enjoy engaging every single one of you, especially in the beginning. But yes, you know, this has been another fantastic one. D-Love. Yeah, D-Love says she didn't get the notification either, you know. So I'll try to also remember to be posting it into the group. Okay, so for those of you that are not in the group, make sure I'll post it 15 minutes before. I'll post it into the group. If you're not in the group yet, you want to basically find the group at lolaandola.com/WhatsApp, like that. Okay, just go from your phone. It will dump you into the WhatsApp group, and then you will get automatic notification 15 minutes before. That way you don't miss out anymore. But that's why we do the countdown. We give people room. I get to set up and all that kind of stuff. Because again, it's a live show. You're listening to me, maybe with 2 seconds live latencies. But nonetheless, that's just how the life is gonna be. But I listen to you. If you think there's an idea or something we can share, I will always listen to it. If I have my reasons, I will share with you. If we can adjust, I will adjust. But it looks like we're doing something right. But I can always learn. There's more to it. But we're not stopping. This is a marathon. Okay? So we have work to do. So hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. And then I'll see you on the next one. Peace.